Hello, this is Nisha. I'm one of the founding partners of People10. Through this short video, I will explain how Agile software development practices differ from traditional and how Agile brings value to business. There is a misconception that Agile is only a project management methodology. It is important for us to understand that Agile in IT means a completely new way of engineering software. With the help of Agile techniques like test-driven development, behavior-driven development, continuous integration, continuous delivery, and the many productivity tools and frameworks, development can be much more transparent. The software is of superior quality, and the software can be deployed into production as many as several times a day, bringing great business value. Ironically, these practices can also be used to overcome the weaknesses of traditional outsourcing, like lack of transparency, time to market, and lack of product quality. Sounds like a tall claim, isn't it? But it is possible, and through this video, I'm going to explain how. Now, let us look closely at the traditional software development lifecycle. As you can see, you have a very long requirements phase where you freeze all the requirements of the project. The requirements phase is followed by design and development done by many developers, and it happens in many disconnected threads. At the end of development, these pieces done by each developer gets integrated in a big bang way, which can get highly complex and ends up in a lot of rework. After that, the testing happens in various forms like functional acceptance, where you check completeness of your features, regression test, where you see the impact on the system, performance and scalability tests, and finally the user acceptance tests. Once all these issues are fixed, the software gets deployed into production. As you can see, there are some fundamental issues here. Most of the tests are done too late in the delivery chain. Functional acceptance is done towards the end of the project. Same is the case with performance testing. All of this calls for rework, and not to mention the nuances you would discover in the user acceptance phase. You might have noticed that the code is getting transferred back and forth between the various stages and getting patched and reworked to arrive at the final product. Essentially, what that means is, though you develop fast, it takes ages to deploy. Let's quickly recap the issues with traditional development. You end up with a lot of rework and wastage of effort. It takes much longer to deploy value to your business or client. You're only able to deploy few times in a year. There are many surprises even after you're done with the development of the features. In the end, your business or client end up suffering. Now, what could be the solution? Obviously, we have no choice but to engineer the software differently, which means we bring changes into the software development lifecycle. The interesting thing here is the developers who used to work like in an assembly line in a manufacturing factory are now expected to work like in a Formula One pit stop. You have so little time to do so many things at the same time and to get it right and get it out. Now, how do we enable our developers to do that? One of the things we do in Agile, which is common knowledge, is that we elaborate just enough requirements, ensure that the code is covered with unit tests and checked in continuously by each developer. We don't need the integration phase when the developers integrate this code several times a day. Continuous integration is one of the most essential ingredients in software agility. Do not wait for the functional acceptance to bring you surprises down the lane. Even before you start development, write down the acceptance criteria and validate them with the product owner and automate them. Post-development, run the automated acceptance test and you ensure that your features are working as per the business needs. Smoke test and regression tests can be automated and brought inside the delivery chain too. Run them regularly and it reduces your overall risk of failure. You can simulate volume and scale through automated performance tests run regularly inside your deployment chain. When you bring so many tests so earlier in the life cycle, the user acceptance becomes almost non-existent. When it comes to deployment, you can write your own scripts for simple deployments or rely on deployment tools available for a seamless deploy into production. Post that, you can check the correctness of your deploy by further running the smoke tests. If you get this right, it is not difficult to have a development setup where you can deploy new features into production many times a day. Now, let's recap the advantages of Agile software development lifecycle. You have very less amount of rework. The developers are not waiting around for requirements. You gain early feedback from the end client. You gain transparency into the development process through the tools and frameworks. You get better quality of software as your software gets tested several hundred times before it hits production. You get faster time to market. You can do more and more risk-free deploys because now you are so good at it. Overall, as an IT team, you are more aligned to your business than ever before. It's very clear that there is a pressing need for this new software development lifecycle, and continuous delivery is definitely here to stay. Now, it all looks good, and the question is, how is it possible to implement? In the next phase of this video, I'm going to illustrate continuous delivery in a live project and show you examples of how each of these practices are implemented inside a single delivery chain to help you move from a code factory to an agile pit stop. Thank you for watching, and please look out for the subsequent sessions of this series.